The drama is building. UVA will play either Boston College or UNC, two teams they lost to in the regular season. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Virginia, your daily podcast on the Virginia Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to the Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, your first place to come to get your daily Wahoo fix as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's title sponsor is FanDuel. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. So let's just jump in, man. We've officially, secured the double bye after the last game of the year, and it's whenever you get like a double bye and you're waiting, or you're a higher seed, there's always the waiting game, the anticipation of who you might play or who you are slated to play, because especially the way that they do this in the ACC, you don't necessarily have that game set up. The games are so far out. We're looking at two teams that actually beat us during the year, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm optimistically positive, about it. I'm very I'm looking forward to seeing what this team comes out with. But if you remember last year, a team like Virginia Tech could come in and just go on a tear and wind up winning the whole ACC tournament to get into the big dance. And Virginia is one of those teams that couldn't be had, especially with the recent struggles they have had. And now all of a sudden they're starting to gel a little bit, gel back together. But the two teams that they lost to, they're on a roll. This being the Wednesday day of the ACC tournament. Of course, it starts Tuesday. It started yesterday. So, and the first slate of games was Virginia Tech versus Notre Dame, BC versus Houston, Georgia Tech versus Florida State. So those games right there, right off the bat, Virginia Tech beats Notre Dame, Boston College beats Louisville, Georgia Tech beats Florida State. So those games right there kind of sets the stage for teams that had a single bye. And in our bracket right there, staring us in the face, and we're going to have to sit there and pay attention for the opponent this Thursday, tomorrow. They're the games come fast and furious. They say March Madness starts with the NCAA tournament. No, not in my opinion. March Madness starts in March, and it starts the beginning of March when you have the last couple games of the year, because some conferences don't have tournaments. It's just like if you win the regular season, you'll get the automatic bid. We're typically talking mid majors, but for UVA, the teams that they're going to play here have an opportunity to punch their ticket, and they are not going to make the big tournament without running the table. Now, keep in mind, this ACC year has been full of parity. Some people are saying, okay, we're looking at UNC, we're looking at Duke over here. Everything is down. As far as how they played this year. They're not dominant. I even had people tell me the ACC is terrible. Who wants to watch the ACC when Miami, Pittsburgh, and UVA are leading the conference? First of all, if you've been paying attention, UVA has been the winningest franchise or the winningest school, or right there with being one of the winning. Is that a word? Winningest schools in the ACC for the past 10 years. I think maybe outside of Duke, no team has won more in the ACC for the past 10 years, or during Tony Bennett's tenure. So if you're used to seeing if you're used to seeing Duke or North Carolina at the top, you're also used to seeing UVA up there because they've been up there for quite some time, if you hadn't noticed. But UVA actually has carried the banner for the ACC for some time. The difference was, as you guys remember, viewers and listeners and fans and friends, UVA would have a hard time competing in the NCAA tournament until the breakthrough 4 years ago, in 2019, when the team finally won the championship and took it all the way, which is just great. But it gives the squad, the team, championship pedigree at any year, any moment. Tony Bennett is at a position now where it seems like he's reloading, but he's reloading with his same talent, same players. But I think Dante Harris is going to be a big deal, the transfer in for Kihei. He's kind of the point guard where he has a pull-up game, where he can get his own shot, he can dribble. Similar to remember London Parentes, how London would dribble around, pull up, shoot the three, or shoot the two, whatever. But he could get his own shot, and I think that's what we're looking forward to with him. A little bit more of an offensive punch, but these coming years are going to be, I think, good. Not only good, I think they're going to be great because the youngsters that Coach Bennett has that are getting some time, and then the guys that are coming that are already on the roster and are redshirted could be. We could be in another stretch where we have 4 studs, 4 difference makers who could elevate this program to another championship run. But let's not count these guys out. We'll talk a little bit more about some of their odds, of course, the teams that they're playing and the times that they're playing. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bets don't win. Just download FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. Hosts can build their own betting profiles for the favorites in the NBA. You can include core markets, spreads, major leagues, totals, player props, player points, rebounds, assists, etc. And as many exclusive bets like 2x3, 2 3-pointers in the first 3 minutes. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. So don't miss a chance to get the no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go FanDuel.com/locked on. That's FanDuel.com Locked On to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you again for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. But everybody, viewers and listeners, fans and friends, usually I would do somewhat of a tale of a tape, which you guys are kind of used to from me, and I would give you kind of like the stats, top players here, top players or top rebounders, those kind of things, what players, playing styles and everything. But because we have a double bye, we don't know. The two teams that are playing tonight, 7 o'clock tip-off, okay? Boston College in North Carolina. That's what it is. The two teams that beat that beat UVA down, during their worst part of the year. And I'm worried about it, yes. But we're playing a different game, absolutely. But it still makes me feel like these teams are revved and ready to go. I totally believe in staying game day ready every day, and that's what these guys are. They're playing for their lives. The desperate team, the dangerous teams, are the ones that I'm definitely worried about. It should be a little different this time through. You remember with the Clemson win and the win from Louisville at the end of the year, the last two wins at home, UVA went back to their mover blocker type of an offense. Traditionally, what they usually run, what they usually hang their hat on. Now, I do expect for Tony Bennett to stick with that system. The triangle maybe has played itself out. Another thing is we need to put more emphasis, as we did these last two games, on the defense. It's almost like the defense fuels the offense. Isn't it funny how that works? Where your defense can be, so complementary to your offense, but it doesn't work that well the other way around, where your offense complements your defense. Usually, if your defense good, it truly helps your offense. I usually don't see it the other way around, where your offense is really good, but it helps your defense. I guess from a way of not necessarily, like, I guess you're wearing them out on the offensive end, and you just keep bombarding them with points. But that's so rare that you get that kind of a production, that you have that kind of a team where you can just score points at will. Usually, if you have a defense that can totally shut a team down, especially in basketball, it can turn into quick points. It turns into easier possessions. It turns into open shots, on turnovers. You turn them over, with good defense, your fast break down the court. You got one of your three-point shooters on the wing or in the corner setting up, because their defense hasn't set up yet because they just had a bad possession on the offensive end. That's one thing that Tony Bennett, if you watch Tony Bennett for quite some time, you know that he likes to run a slow down kind of an offense, as far as pacing the team. And that's because he does not want to get a lot of it is because he wants to keep his defense in front of their opponents. He doesn't want the defense to be out of sorts, so to speak. He wants the defense to be able to set itself. So if you play at a pace where, number one, you know, the energy, a lot of the effort, the tough, the energy you're expending is on the defensive end. You kind of have to play that. You have to pick your poison, I guess is what they would call that. Tony Bennett wants to be able to, we're going to have the guys running, jumping, and exerting, not necessarily on the offensive end so much, but the super extra effort is on the defensive end, where you see the guys do a lot of superhuman things, as far as blocking, staying in front of guys, moving their feet. The offense pretty much is kind of a set thing with Tony Bennett. He has sets. The guys kind of know the sets and run the plays like the back of their hand, and it's more of a jump shooting kind of a team. But the defensive end, Tony's looking for special things. He's looking for guys to, you know, make sure that they stay in front of their offensive players that they're covering. Make sure the guys are leaping, bounding, jumping, stealing. I mean, he's looking for something special on the defensive end. So these teams, Boston College and North Carolina, they shredded us. They shredded us with that system where we were running the way that we were playing defense last time. And we got to change something. I think having or Poppy available more, playing more, because the big man, these two teams have probably it's not probably, they have the two best big men, in my opinion, Armando Bacot and the big man from Post, last name Post, Quentin Post. Those two are the two best big men in the ACC, and it's going to be a treat to watch it. It's going to be like old school Big East. You remember that back in the day? Or even old school ACC where you had two big men, who were, the focal points of their teams. They play from the inside out. The difference is with Quentin Post is also a three-point shooter as well as a scorer down low. But I loved it. Can't wait to see what him and Armando Bacot put together as a tough team. Two teams playing each other. So, yeah. But back to the whole offense and how it works. Mover blocker is back. That's that offense that Tony has ran typically his whole college career at UVA. And I would imagine that they're drilling it as we speak. Just trying to sharpen those knives. You look at different types of mock drafts and not mock drafts, mock tournaments, those kind of things. And some of these mock tournaments has UVA at a fourth seed, which, for me, I can't argue with it anymore. They had a really bad stretch. They played terrible. And when they did that, I just kind of was like, well, a fourth seed is the best of it that they can do at this point. This is kind of where they are. Could always be a little higher, especially depending on how they do with this tournament. Now, if they win this tournament and get to the last day where they're going to play, somebody on the other side of the bracket, maybe they can get to a 2 if they win it. But they have to win it. They got to get, I think it's 3 games to get to, or to win the championship. You won 3 games. So maybe they can get there. But hopefully, just hopefully, they're keen to this BC, North Carolina, these two teams that are coming up. Another thing is their, fatigue. Hopefully that plays an issue as well. It did not when Virginia Tech came through, storming the ACC in the tournament last year. So it's going to be great. But like I was saying, like Joe Lunardi had us as a 4th seed. He does these brackets and he kind of does these predictions and these mock brackets. And he had us in the South, which, the South, I'd have to look again, to where in the South. But I know that Greensboro was one of the places. and that would probably be a place that I would love to get to if we can. But yeah, that's where they kind of had them in, going in the South. So let's pray about it. Let's think about it. Let's see where this team is going to end up. Who they'll end up playing tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And we'll keep this thing together if you guys can. Quick news about baseball. Of course, the baseball team just finished up a homestand of 9 games and are currently 13-0. Me and my guy Casey Pizzaia was talking about it a couple days ago. The team is they're in this similar position last year where they won a lot in the beginning and then things just kind of fizzled out. The pitching woes kind of caught up with them and the bats slowed up. But my man Geloff and the rest of the guys got a big, huge tournament or series this weekend. They play UNC, and they're really going to get into ACC play now. Let's see how they do. 3-game tournament, that will be on my radar as well to keep checking. But this should be great, guys. This is just another one of those games where we're checking it out. We're trying to figure out which of these teams are going to be going to Omaha, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to go to Omaha with my guy. Never been to Nebraska. Never been to that baseball tournament. Kind of like a once in a lifetime experience to experience it. So trying to get out there. A quick news also: spring football practice kicks off March 15th. Make sure you get ready for that spring game. It'll be here before you know it, April 15th. Get in there, get set. There have been some articles. There have been some news about the team. Of course, the transfer are talking more so right now about coming over and just because they're just doing kind of conditioning light practices before they start putting on the pads. And there's, I guess, I don't know, call it optimism, but there's a big curiosity from not just the fans, but really from like the media. They really want to know or wondering, what's up with this UVA program. A lot of things happen, a lot of tragedy. Just the team just performed poorly. Lost their quarterback, lost all conference players. Where they go from here is going to be interesting. That's all I have to say before we really jump back into some college football news. But we'll keep you guys up to date on some of that. I'm not cautiously optimistic like some people are, but I'm very, very guarded when it comes to the football program. I don't know what to expect from them right now. So, I'm just looking to see what the coaches do, how they proceed moving forward. I'm just still on the fence about them doing really good this coming up year. I'm not sure what they'll do. I don't know where they are. I don't even know how you come back from what they have to come back from. I don't know. But I'll do a tail of the tape coming up once we figure out who we have to play, whether it's UNC or BC. But the drama still builds. The drama still builds. And as it builds, it'll explode like a volcano here pretty soon once we figure out who we play. And then it'll be game on, and the drama will be immense because both of these teams had UVA's number during the season. But I got to thank you guys again just for listening, hanging out. Shout out to my guy Casey Pizzalia and my 7 City Shop Talk team. Make sure you catch me on Facebook, on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like the page. We keep that thing going, based off of how you guys respond to us. But put some comments in there. Anything you want to say, put the comments in there. We will respond to you. But we got to thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out the brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you guys. We love you. Wahoo wah. And sit tight. It's getting ready to get crazy.